song by Fred Hammond, No Weapon. And he has this like talking part at the end where he's like, you've been lied on, cheated, talked about, mistreated. I was thinking that to myself, and I'm like, is that y'all's everyday life? I hope this is not the life that y'all are like just living on a daily basis, that you're just constantly being lied on, cheated, talked about, and mistreated. Because girl, why? Why is that the life that you're choosing to live? Get out of that situation. Hey guys, it's Bree with the B Face, and today we have another Ready to Love review. We're going to do a joint one. We're going to do episode 8 and episode 9 because I watched those all at the same time this weekend. So here we are. So episode 8 is first. There's 6 ladies left, which really just kind of illustrates how we're getting down to it. You know, we're cutting down the numbers for real. So Tommy brings the ladies in, and he's telling them, introduce your next to your ex. And listen, I have never understood or seen the point of this because, I mean, aside from like TV drama, of course, like I just don't see the point of that in your regular everyday life, because there's a couple things that could happen. One, you just bring someone who you're friends with, who you slept with, or like you know, maybe talked to, but it wasn't like a situation for real. Or you bring someone who's still feeling you and is gonna say nice things, or is gonna grill the guys because they're still actually feeling you and gonna tell you, ain't nobody here good for you. Or you're gonna get an ex that you still have some sort of connection with, and it's gonna be drama anyway. So I just don't see the point of introducing your potential love interest to your ex. I don't see any reason for that, because clearly y'all didn't work out. So what are they gonna tell you about someone else? Don't get somebody like me because we didn't work out? Or, like, I don't understand the point of this. And also, if they got along, I would have a problem. Like, y'all two don't need to be cool with each other. I don't like this. So Jeffrey pulls Tommy to the side, and she's like, listen, the only 2 exes I got are baby daddies, and I'm not bringing them Negroes around here. So that's that on that. So Tommy's like, well, just take the guys out and just explain your situation, right? Morgan has her ex, Junior, who, by the way, looks like that 3 baby mama guy from the DC season. Dante, I think was his name. He looks exactly like him. And Junior meets Lyndon and Tony. That whole date was weird because they get into why their relationship ended, her and the ex, and Junior is saying she didn't want anything serious and he did, and that's why it didn't work out. But then he goes and tells the story about her thinking he was cheating on her, which how can you cheat on somebody that don't want a relationship with you? And she put Nair in his hair. Like, Nair, and laughs about it and is like, in my defense, he was lying to me. Girl, and that is psychotic behavior. That is a terrible thing to do to someone. Like, that is not a good thing. And I don't understand why this man is here after that. Like, y'all still chopping it up like that did not occur. Like, that didn't happen. Which really just proves to me even more that if a guy is feeling you, he don't care what you do. Like, you could do you could put Nair in this man's hair, he will show up for you. Or maybe he showed up for TV, who knows? Who knows? Tony is like, I don't like the situation because clearly you were feeling some things that you weren't admitting, aren't willing to admit, because why would you do all of that if you don't like this guy? My thoughts exactly, Tony, because that's a serious thing that you did to someone you didn't want a relationship with. Make it make sense. That's not, the math ain't math in there. So then Cynthia has Andre and Anthony meet James, which is her kid's father. That man was ready to grill. He was just like, I don't think anything these guys could have said would have made him comfortable. And he even said during the date, like, I put her through a lot and she was innocent and I don't want her to go through that again. Which is like, I don't know, like it's just, he was being very bodyguard, which is like, okay, cool. You're trying to protect, right? And do things that you didn't have the opportunity to do when you two were together. However, again, nothing these guys could say was going to persuade you or sway you, because as soon as Andre got there, he was grilling him and he couldn't say nothing good. I mean, his answers were kind of mid. But also I feel like the questions were mid. Like, I want to know about your flings. Why? That's not what I'm doing here. Why are you ready now? Well, because I have the success and I'm not asking about your success. Right, but you asked a question and that's part of the answer, you know? So it's like, yeah, they were just kind of arguing back and forth. Anthony came in, I felt like his answers were better, and James seemed to back off him a little bit, but still, like, there was just contention. And y'all know these producers be like, y'all get up and go, say something, say you gotta go take care of your kids or something, y'all ain't finna stay here this whole day, like, we have things to do. And so Andre gets up and leaves. James is like, oh, he's running away. And then Anthony shortly thereafter is like, well, I have to go. And the ex is like, oh, you running away too? But I did like Anthony's response, because he was like, get my information from Cynthia. I am not going anywhere. And I'm like, okay, good answers, good answers. That was a good one though. But like I said, I don't think anything these guys could say is going to make James comfortable, because he is holding on to the stuff that he did. And what's gonna resolve that? You know, what's gonna resolve you feeling guilty and feeling like you have to compensate for all the crap you put her through? She's in a different space, I imagine. Y'all hadn't been together since what, 2014? I feel like both of you should be in different spaces. So that was that date. Jeffrey brings Blue and Mark Anthony, and she's telling him why she's not inviting any of her exes. And both Mark Anthony and Blue in their confessionals are like, this sounds like a whole bunch of excuses. And in my head, I'm like, in real life, you wouldn't meet my exes anyway. Like, so, I mean, we're doing this purely for television, but I am telling you, my experience is not gonna be one that I'm gonna exploit for TV. It's just not. I'm not gonna bring these dudes on here. That is the long and short of it. They don't wanna be in my kid's life. They don't get to be a part of this process. I felt like her explanation made sense. Mark Anthony seems to ease up off it. Blue seems to kind of like, you know, I just don't understand why you don't keep in touch with any of your exes. So, I mean, hey, if that's the thing you want to stand on, sure. I don't see the point of the ex date in the first place, but I also felt like Jeffrey's explanations made a lot of sense. Like, if I haven't dated seriously, if I just went on a couple of dates with a couple of dudes, how are you going to know me well enough to come here and try and advise me on, you know, who to date and whatever? You don't know me. We went on a date once. Like, there wasn't anything substantial there. The two people who were substantial have chosen not to be in my kid's life. Why would I bring them here? So I understood Jeffrey's point there. I feel like I'm starting to like Jeffrey more and more. Like, I believed what she said about the whole Blake thing just because of his behavior, but I also felt like she was a little feisty. And so I wasn't feeling her 100% at the beginning. I feel like she's growing on me as the episodes progress. I don't know why, but I did understand her point here. Marcia has her ex meet Tony and Blue. And that was so funny because Blue was like, I got a top 2 and you're both number 2. He was like, y'all are both at the second spot. Like, neither of you are in the number one spot, which is hilarious to me. Tony, the ex liked Tony more, but he said Tony is very direct, and I just don't know how kind he's going to be to you when he needs to be direct, you know, if he's just gonna be direct and not be gentle with you, which is a valid concern, but I feel like up to this point, he kind of has been. Like, he doesn't throw Morgan in her face. He does tell her, like, this is what I'd like to see from you, blah, blah, blah. I would say he seems very kind, at least when it comes to women. With men, he's very... and he checked blue, so that's what I mean. Mercedes has her ex meet Anthony and Mark Anthony. This is the second time we just see Anthony give just better answers. He's just better at answering these questions. He's not flustered. And the ex was like, Mark Anthony seems to be forcing the confidence, and he doesn't seem like he's ready to, you know, be a husband or have a wife or all of that stuff. And I like what the ex said. He was like, Anthony, that man is ready for life. He was like, he's ready for life with whoever it is. That man is just ready. And it's a quiet confidence. He doesn't have to force it. It's just he's there. He's confident in what he's saying. He's confident in who he is and knows what he wants. So the ex likes Anthony better. It's always funny to me when the ex gives their opinion, because it's you can tell by the person's face that's not what they were wanting to hear. Like, they're always wanting the person who the ex does not like, right? Like, you're always wanting the person that it's like when you say, help me make this decision between A and B. In your heart of hearts, you probably already are like, if I had to choose right now, I would choose A. So when the person says B, it's like, nah, I'm gonna go with A. I actually wanted that in the beginning. And it seems like all these people, the ex is like, oh, I like this person more. And they're like, that's not what I wanted you to say. And you could just tell by their faces. Sue Ann has her ex meet Blake and Anthony. And Blake looked like he was on an interview. It wasn't like a calm, like, I'm here to just talk and get to know and, you know, whatever. He was on an interview. And the ex said he thinks Blake is like him 20 years ago. I'm like, how old are you? This is you 20 years ago. They're in their 40s, aren't they? So that was an interesting thing. And then also Blake was like, the ex asked something about how do you handle conflict, and Blake was like, well, I don't do conflict, because if I give you every opportunity to tell me the truth and you lie to me, it's over, I'm done. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, I don't have much to say about that. It just, he definitely was giving like interview vibes. Like, he just seemed like he was on an interview there. Or like he was handling it like an interview. Jeffrey and Andre meet up separately because he wasn't at the explanation thing with Blue and Mark Anthony, so they meet up separately. Andre likes her. Like, the way he is with her is different from any of his other interests, just the way he is around her. He's like feeding her. Like they're doing this little baby thing. Like, they're just, the way that they are together seems like it's already a done deal. You know, she has other connections, but Andre seems old enough to where the 3 kids makes sense for them to, like, he's like 40, he's like 39 maybe. Like, that seems like, okay, you don't have any kids, but at 40, I'm sure you are aware that anyone you're trying to meet around your age probably already has kids. He's probably been in relationships with women with kids. Mark Anthony has not. That just seems like a foregone conclusion, honestly, but she says she still like Mark Anthony. So yeah, and she was eating that up. Eating the whole thing up. But she does seem like she's feeling him too. She said they are soulmates. They met in another life, that whole deal. So, like I said, foregone conclusion. When they got to the ladies' lounge, I could just already tell from how those dates went that Blue was going home. Just the way the ex-date with Marcia went, and then the way he kind of responded to Jeffrey, I was like, yeah, Blue's going home. And he did. And then when I watched this, I was like, oh, if that happens, then either Marcia and Sue-Ann are going home in the next episode. And I was also right about that. So Jeffrey in the ladies' lounge, she said something. She was talking about Mark Anthony, and she was saying like, just how good of a guy he is. And she was like, he deserves a me. I heard that. I was like, I wish I had that level of confidence. Because, I mean, obviously not to be arrogant, but just to walk into a situation and be like, not even I deserve to be here, you deserve to have me here. Like, that's the confidence that I bring in, that you deserve to have me here. That was just a good line that I had to bring up there. Deliberation didn't really offer anything different. They were just talking about the ex-dates, and, you know, it was just very clear. Like, I don't think anyone else was in the running to go home, aside from always Blake, because he only has that one connection. And I think everyone else has at least two, except for Lyndon, so I don't know why he's never in the bottom. And then the previews, they're just talking about the best friend date, so the men are introducing the ladies to their best friend. Okay, so episode 9. Obviously, Tommy tells the guys to introduce the ladies to their truth teller, their best friend, their good friend, which I think is actually a good insight. You know, like, it can be a better insight than introducing an ex-boyfriend, ex-husband, ex-whatever to your potential love interest, a thing that would probably never happen in real life. This would actually probably happen in real life. Not even probably. You most definitely are going to meet the guy's friends at some point. And then there are people in your life who know you well. And so they can give you insights, especially when you're inviting that. Because I feel like a lot of times when you meet friends, it's like, listen, honey, if you like it, I love it. And if you don't like it anymore, I don't like it anymore either. Like, that's the vibe. But if you invite that truth in, and you invite that person to have an opinion and tell you their opinion and be honest about it, I feel like that could be really good insight. I feel like I have the type of friends that would tell me regardless if I invited the truth or not. They'd be like, please don't do this. So Andre has his friend Jermaine meet Jeffrey and Cynthia. Now, here's the deal. This is what I mean about their faces giving it away and who they actually want. So Jermaine likes Cynthia better, and I think because of that one thing she talked about being able to protect a man's feelings and just giving him that space to be open and vulnerable, you know, without punishing him for it, right? Which I understand and get. Like, that was a good answer. And that hit him. He was like, oof. Are you available for anything else? Can I sit on the couch here for you? But Andre, he was like, no, she answered too fast, and that made me upset. That was annoying to me. Maybe she's just sure of her answer. I don't feel like you can rehearse that. Maybe she was just sure about who she is, you know? But like I said, I think his mind is made up about Jeffrey. I don't think you could say someone's your soulmate and then take a hard left and be like, no, I'm finna go with Cynthia. You're just keeping your options open. To stay in the game also, because if you don't have multiple connections, go home. So Mark Anthony has his friend Mark meet Jeffrey and Mercedes. And I still don't see it with him and Jeffrey. Like, I still don't see it. And Mark also is like, yeah, I think Mercedes is a better fit. I don't know why they're trying to force this to work. He's so young. I don't think he's trying to step into a ready-made family. It doesn't seem like it meshes. Lyndon has his friend Troy meet Morgan. And so they get to talking about 5-year versus 2-year plans, which is basically like when they're looking to get married. And Lyndon, in his confessional, was like, I did not come to this process trying to get married in 2 years. That is not the plan. And it just kind of illustrates the age difference between those two. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I just didn't see them working anyway. It doesn't really even seem romantic between those two. It really just seems like a friendship level. Maybe Lyndon is not he's certainly not as smooth as Tony is, but he just never seems to get romantic with anybody, except for that time he was trying to kiss Marcia. And even that wasn't romantic. It was just like, can I kiss you now? Like, that was it. So yeah, I just don't see it with them. And then also, Troy, good job for you, because he was saying that Nair thing is a football field size red flag. Why would you do that to someone? And Morgan's explanation is making it so much worse. I feel like if you were in a place where you were like, yeah, I did that. I was however old. That was me being very immature. I know now to communicate with someone. If I'm feeling some type of way, I need to either remove myself from the situation, sans Nair, or talk to them and see if I can get some resolution here, because that was an unkind thing to do, and I wouldn't do that going forward. None of that was said. It was just, I was trying to make a grand exit. I Googled it to make sure that I wouldn't get jail time. What? This is pure psychotic behavior. That is horrible. Like, that whole situation is horrible. And I'm glad Troy was like, that is a terrible thing to do. Please don't go with this lady. Because Lyndon has some hair. You know? She might mix some Nair up if you don't choose her. Yeah, so Blake has his lady friend, LaShawn, meet Sue-Ann. She seems to like Sue-Ann. She was just cautioning Blake about the whole divorcee thing. I mean, it's a fresh divorce. That's only 2 years. You know, it takes some time to get divorced. So yeah, that was only 2 years ago. She has kids. So she was just saying, like, be careful. There may be some things that trigger, you know, some reactions from her, and that just may be because the divorce is so fresh, yada, yada. So that was it. There wasn't really much to say about that interaction. Tony has his friend Tron meet Marcia and Morgan. And he seemed to like Marcia better because he said she had better answers. But he said Morgan was very direct and also seems to be just all about him. Like, just all about Tony Tone, as Lyndon says. Which seems true. Also, I noticed, listen, Owen loves Morgan's little one-liners, because I think this is the second or third time that one of her one-liners has made it to the episode title. Wife me, please. And then, as an aside, I did notice that generally with the ex date and the friend date in prior seasons, the person that they're introduced to gets to ask questions back and kind of get some insight into the person. Because obviously this is someone who knows you well. I keep clearing my throat. I have been sick this past week, and it's just still there a little bit. Anyway, yeah, like, I just noticed that in prior seasons, people would ask questions back and forth, and this one, it was just the ex or the friend is asking them questions, and they don't ask anything back, which I'm like, asking questions back could really give you some good insight if you're trying to get to know that person from a different perspective. You know, if there's something that you want to know about them, or something that you haven't been able to see, or also something that you might want to ask that person, but someone else, you know, you don't always see yourself as clearly as other people do. So I do think that could have been good insight. Also, I realized that they may have asked those questions and it just wasn't shown on the screen. So that is just one thing that I noticed in contrast to previous seasons. Then we see Anthony. He brought his friend Miriam, we love a good Bible name, to meet Mercedes, Cynthia, and Sue-Ann. And she thinks Cynthia is the best fit. But I thought from that interaction that I don't think he's really into Sue-Ann anymore. I think that if Mercedes were more into him, I think he'd be choosing Mercedes, because it seems like their interaction is just like, I don't know. I also feel like Cynthia would be a good fit. You know, she's already a mom, so she could step into the mommy role with his daughter. Mercedes is a little unsure because she doesn't have kids. She wants to be a mom, but she just doesn't know how that would actually play out with someone else's kid. So it's just, I think that he likes Mercedes the most. I think Sue-Ann and her telling people that he just doesn't express is annoying him from what he was saying in his confessionals. And I think Cynthia is cool, and I think he's interested, but I just feel like there's more attraction with Mercedes. That is just what I picked up. And then we have deliberation. Nothing new was really said here, but Tommy did tell them they're about to do the getaway, which we know that's where all the drama comes in. And I do want to say, like I said before, Marcia and Sue-Ann were in the bottom, and then Marcia went home, which kind of sucks because I think Tony was feeling her. Also, seems like Tony was feeling her a lot more than he was letting on, because him and Lyndon were getting into a little tiff in the previews, and Lyndon was like, why don't you tell Morgan how you said if Marcia was here, I could have Morgan. I said, oh, hold on. Receipts. Did this really happen? Because if it really happened, I want to see where he said this. I want to see footage of him whispering to Lyndon, if Marcia was here, you could have Morgan, because I would be good. What the heck? Did you really say that? Anyway, I'm excited to see that next episode, because Tony was like, we could step outside. Let's fight. I don't want to talk about it no more. So definitely want to see that. And now I want to see the reunion, because if Marcy and Tony show up together, ciao. Anyway, that's it for these 2 episodes, these 2 reviews. Let me know what y'all think in the comments, because it is getting pretty interesting, if I do say so myself. But I will see you guys in my next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.